Rolston writes, "It's within man's relatedness to his environment that all man's values are grounded and supported. In that construction of values, man doubtless exceeds any environmental prescription, but nonetheless his values remain environmental reciprocals." I'm not sure exactly what he has in mind here, but it's something like whenever we were valuing, even previous to having a scientific ecology or study of ecology, we were always valuing within an environment and within an ecology. So even before we knew it, our thinking was ecological. It just wasn't self-consciously ecological. We were dependent on environments, and our values were themselves aspects of our environments and of our relation to our environments. But and now with this new ecological worldview, we're able to appreciate this, and this allows us to reconsider and reevaluate our values in a way that has continuity with what's come before, but is going to be motivated by this new awareness of the ecological situatedness of all valuing. Rolston goes on to describe this. His valuations, like his other perceptions and knowings, are interactionary, drawn from environmental transactions, not merely brought to it. In this environmental encounter, he finds homeostasis a key to all values, the precondition of values, if you will, but one which, for all that, informs and shapes his other values by making them relational, corporate, environmental. So here you see a kind of anticipation of the idea of systemic value that Rolston had articulated in the 1991 text. Also, I apologize for all this talk about man in the environment rather than humans in the environment, something more gender neutral, just of course a mark of the way that people wrote in the 1970s. Hopefully Rolston would rephrase it if he was writing this today. And Rolston says a little bit more now about this connection between the descriptive science of ecology and the normative or evaluative consequences that are drawn from that in a primarily ecological ethic. Our account initially suggests that ecological description is logically, if not chronologically, prior to the ecosystemic evaluation, the former generating the latter. But the connection of description with evaluation is more complex, for the description and evaluation to some extent arise together, and it is often difficult to say which is prior and which is subordinate. Ecological description finds unity, harmony, interdependence, stability, etc., and these are valuationally endorsed. Yet they are found to some extent because we search with a disposition to value order, harmony, stability, unity. So his point there is he's not denying that humans bring their value judgments into the practice of science itself. He's acknowledging that we notice what we do in ecology in part because of what we value. Still, the ecological description does not merely confirm these values, it informs them. And we find that the character, the empirical content of order, harmony, stability is drawn from, no less than brought to, nature. So a good example of this is when he describes species in the 1991 text. And he says this is something that science has actually taught us to value. It's taught us is a real natural object, is a kind of life, species. It's a form that life takes in a sustained way over evolutionary time, and that we can see once we have that object available to us that could only be available for us to see from a sufficiently developed theoretical perspective in ecology and in biology. Once we have that perspective, though, then we're able to see that the thing we're looking at is a kind of harmony, order, stability, unity, and that it deserves our appreciation and our protection for those reasons. And then finally, Rolston describes this procession from ecological science to ethics in this way. Here an ought is not so much derived from an is, as discovered simultaneously with it. As we progress from descriptions of fauna and flora, that is, animals and plants, of cycles and pyramids, of stability and dynamism, on to intricacy, planetary opulence and interdependence, to unity and harmony with oppositions in counterpoint and synthesis, arriving at length at beauty and goodness, it is difficult to say where the natural facts leave off and where the natural values appear. For some observers, at least, the sharp is-ought dichotomy is gone. The values seem to be there as soon as the facts are fully in, and both alike are properties of the system.